here, and it should push out to Facebook. So it'll start in a few seconds here. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Summer Library and Bookstore Tour. My name is Maria Dismondy, and I am the founder at Cardinal Rule Press, a children's publishing company in Southeast Michigan. We focus on producing picture books that reflect modern-day diversity and the golden rule, and we believe in the importance of supporting others in the book industry. And today, we wanted to highlight and showcase the Lancaster Public Library in Pennsylvania. And today we have Matthew Bushong, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what his role is at the library, and we have so many cool things in store for you today. So welcome, Matthew.
Hi, thanks for having us. We are very excited and really appreciate any extra attention we can get for our library. I have worked here for 6 years in the Children's and Teens Department, Children and Teen Services, and I just kind of do a little bit of everything.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit, where are you standing? Because this is a really cool space in the library that you're in.
So our library is 260 years old, and because of that, we are one of the oldest libraries in the country, and we have quite the rare book and historical book collection. Some things that we even keep behind a lock in a cage because they're so old and rare.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Oh,
that is. Now, so are people able to see those books within the library, but they can't check them out? I'm assuming.
You can check them out, but if you make an appointment, you're more than welcome to page through them, especially if you're doing research. We had a pretty significant historian who wanted to know about what George Washington did in his time in Lancaster a few months ago. So like you get all kinds of cool different things for that.
Fantastic. So you told us a little bit about the library and your role in the library. And we're not having anyone else from the library join us, are we, Matthew?
No, not today. We are a little short-staffed.
Well, you know, tell me, what is your current state with COVID-19? Because I don't see any patrons. I do see that you have your mask. I'm not wearing the mask in my own home office, but I do when I leave the home. So what is the current state of the library?
So right now we are doing curbside pickup. So you can either call or send us an email, give us your list of books, we'll pull them for you. And then as long as everything goes well, they're ready for you the next day.
Okay, that's fantastic. And have people been utilizing that service?
Yes, definitely. It's been really fun. You know, we do have like our patrons that we talk to and have really close relationships with. But with this, like having a phone conversation with them, you know, weekly, I'm pulling their books instead of them, so I know exactly what they're reading, and being able to follow up on that is like really cool and something new.
Yeah, and you know, I've been doing that at our own library, and I couldn't figure out how to schedule my time for pickup, so I called, and they said, "Maria, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, you remember me?" Like it just that connection, you know.
Yes, especially you know, we haven't seen people for months now, so it's really nice to get something. You know, we can't see them in person. We're not quite sure when that'll happen, but hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll open up to some more things.
Good. And what phase are you? Are you in phase 4 right now with your state?
Yes, our green phase, which even though, you know, green you would think means go, but there's still quite a few limitations that we have to enact.
Okay. Now I'm very excited. You pulled some historic pictures for us. Can you
let's get to that.
Take us through
first, how many libraries do you know have a full gallery space? It's empty right now, but we like to display patrons' works. And I was even working on a staff show before the shutdown.
Oh my goodness. And how long were you actually out of the library during the shutdown? Was that like all of April, all of May?
Me personally, I was out for 90 days. I was supposed to work the first weekend we shut down, so I was already off a couple more days before everyone else.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna turn my camera around.
And we are in the children's section right now. This is so fun.
Yeah, so we have this wonderful circle. Let me back out to show you. All this stuff has been here for a very long time. We have these cool trees and a nice little reading area to come and sit. This is where we'll do story times for schools that come in to visit, any tours. This is the first tour I've gotten to give this year because we kind of closed before all the elementary schools were setting up their field trips.
Oh, wow.
So that's from the opening And some of these won't mean too much to people unless you know what our library looks like now downstairs.
Okay. Oh, but I see this one zooming in.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
There's a circle. Like it used to have leather chairs. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
And then this was one of our older buildings. I think this is the 4th or 5th building Lancaster Public Library has been in. And then this, where we just were, where the gallery space was, used to look very different. Red carpet and a rock garden.
Fancy, definitely fancy. And now, look at those beautiful flowers in the children's
We got a lot of truffula trees.
Awesome. Now, are you hosting virtual story times right now?
We are, and I can take you to that space right now.
Cool.
We've been having them. I think we're taking a couple of weeks off right now because of the holiday recently.
Okay.
But I think we're doing 2 or 3 a week. Wow. And more to come, maybe.
Oh, 2 or 3 a week? So, is that the different age levels?
Yeah. No, it's about all the same right now. They definitely, when we were doing in-person programming, was geared towards different age levels. But right now, we've just kind of been keeping everything the same to make it easier for us since we're doing so much more with curbside and whatnot.
Okay.
So right now, this is our autism resource room and parent collection. So we have a bunch of materials for anyone that might be a parent of autistic children or just a parent at all and just wants some guidance on how to raise their kid or
that's great for
learn fun activities. Mm-hmm. And then here is our giant paper mache tree.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing.
That's all made by paper mache. And then the leaves, most of them were colored by patrons.
That is really cool.
And then let me sit. And then I have my books here.
Oh, awesome. And are these the books that you're going to share with us today? Because we asked for you to pull a few of your favorite books, whether, it be now or, all-time favorite. Tell us a little bit about some of these books.
So I do a lot of story times and a lot of field trips and reading to kids. And usually when a school comes, it's not just one class, it's like 2 or 3.
Okay.
So keeping the attention of, upwards of 60 to even more kids is really hard. And especially with groups that big, kids in the back can't really see things. So I like to pick books where pictures aren't necessarily the most important thing, or are really large and maybe take up a whole page. So kids that are far away can see them. In this book, especially The Worst Book Ever and the book no one wants to read, I really love these books because they talk directly to the audience. They're not so much telling a story that you're not a part of, but like it really brings the kids and the reader into the story and makes them a part of it. It's more of a conversation with you instead of like reading passively. Yeah,
so the author actually speaks right to the children, and I'm remembering it's making me think of a book, the book with no pictures, or the book with no words?
Yes. That by B.J. Novak kind of, I think, reinvigorated that almost genre, I guess, of books. And now there's more and more. These by Beth Bacon. And I know Jimmy Kimmel just came out with one, I forget the title, that's very similar in that, like, it's talking directly to you. I think that's really important. It engages the kids more.
I'm writing that down. Because I didn't know about that one. Awesome.
And then I also picked Spencer's New Pet because I was one of the kids that didn't like to read ever. And this book is one of those books that just has no words, but tells a very, very cool, interesting story, and has a really, really wonderful ending that caught me by surprise. So that instantly became one of my favorite books.
Now, when you share a book with no words in your story time, do you have the children, share what they think is happening?
Yes, make another thing to keep kids interactive is always asking questions. What do they think? What do you see on this page? What would you do in that situation? Things like that. You always want to include them more, add more to it. So it's, again, more engaging and less of a passive experience. Because if you just sit there and read a story and you don't make eye contact or ask the kids questions, they might get bored or start looking around. And our library has a lot of really cool things to look at.
Yeah. And what about when you're doing story times? We've got people who are joining the, there were a couple people waiting to join. So people are able to view this on Facebook, but they're also able to join, live right here in this in this space. So tell us a little bit about your story time, because I know different libraries do different story times. Do you sing songs? I see a puppet there. Like, what are some of the favorite things to highlight during story times?
Yes, so that's a puppet we did a few weeks back. We had him out for the Hungry Caterpillar. So he just kind of read along with me. So normally before COVID, we had a pre-K story time and then like a kindergarten story time, and lab sit for little babies, toddlers, rollers, like to roll around. And those would always consist of either an activity and a story and then play. We have so many toys. Like for a library, it's crazy how many toys we have. And we have a huge auditorium, which I can go to.
Oh yeah, and where are the toys? Are the toys kept in the children's section?
We keep them in the back for the most part. Normally, the circle would be filled with toys, but that's something we removed before we closed down, just to have less things to clean around the building.
Okay.
Let me grab the light in here.
So behind the scenes, and thank you for those who are joining us in the Zoom space. And I apologize, I didn't let you in right away. I forgot about the feature of letting people in, so thank you.
So right now it's used for storage just because we're, how the world is right now. But normally this is where we'd have our story time. We have these carpets set up over here, and the performer would be in the corner. We have volunteers that either specialize in children care or are musically talented, because I know I'm not. But yeah, usually if there's not a craft, there's definitely a song. If not,
very cool.
Both.
So you have volunteers for story time. That's awesome. It's as if you read our the Cardinal Rule Press marketing newsletter, because that's one of our biggest things is bring people into your library, bring performers in, and bring volunteers in the community. So that's awesome.
So here's just some of what we have. All these things to play with.
So you rotate the toys in and out of the children's space.
We have dress up and kitchens and babies. We have a monthly Lego program, so we have a ton of Legos, building blocks, things like that. All kinds of cool stuff here.
So the monthly Lego program, is that before COVID, right? We're just talking all this.
Yes.
And that is, is that just a time where kids come in and they get to build and create, or is there instruction in that?
Yes, essentially it is an hour of Lego building, whatever you want. We have, we're a library, so we have a ton of Lego books. So we put those out too. So if kids want, more guided instructions, something specific to build, they have that. But it's really set up as just a fun time. I know growing up, we never had Legos because Legos are really expensive. So it's just a thing that's really what we try to provide. We have weekly video game programs, because again, a PlayStation 4 or a Switch, those are expensive things. So we try to really focus our programming to benefit those people.
I love that. So you're really making your programming so that many different socioeconomic families who have different statuses can come in and use those things. That's so cool. Now tell me I have another question, Matthew. Is your library one floor? Or you've taken us.
Oh, no, we are on 2 floors. I can take you downstairs if you would like.
Or you can tell us, what is on that? Is there a cafe? I know a lot of libraries are doing cafes.
Oh, we do have a small bookstore. That where you put our used books or books that were donated that we didn't need in our collection, or things that were part of our collection that we didn't feel we needed anymore. So that's I guess the most special thing we have down there is our bookstore. But it's really just the adult floor. We have that separated.
And what's the Friends Gallery? Did we already go through the Friends Gallery? That's really cool too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the art gallery. Yes. Okay. Yes. And now this will be my last question, because I want to respect your time, especially with the mask on. When you are selecting art for that, is it more of a competition where you might say to the elementary schools, okay, choose 2 pieces of art that we can showcase at the library? Is it something like that? Or how do you choose art for that gallery?
It's different for each time. The most recent show we had was just one student. He was 13 or 14, I believe. And every single piece in it was just by him. And I knew he did art because he just brought it by one day, because we have awesome patrons that want to show off what they do. And that just got the idea in my head that we should do a show with this specific kid. But we also, some things are more of a competition. We get entries and we'll pick, what we think is best for the topic. Or the staff show was really just, whatever any of us work on, whether it's specific arts like photography. I have a photography background. Our maintenance guy had paintings in it. And then we also allowed other staff that did more crafty things like knitting and things like that to display the work as well.
I love that. And, you know, think about that 13-year-old who you highlighted. Like, that could be a transformational moment in his life. You know what I mean?
I love things like that because it's, you know, it's just an opportunity for kids to do different things. Because we were celebrating our 260th anniversary, we threw a big birthday bash, and a kid that got into magic because of our summer reading program, he got a ticket to go see a magic show. He started performing magic, and then over the next year, I got him in the library to do his magic show.
No.
So we're always trying to do cool things like that.
And I think this is, I'm going to highlight the point of your interview. Like, our libraries are so important for our children. They're important. I mean, I read at the library too, but look at what our children are getting and benefiting from. It's not just getting books, but it's getting access to things that they may not have at their home. It's being able to showcase their talents and to inspire them to, you know, be talented in certain areas or explore different areas as well.
Definitely. We want the children's floor to feel like it's ran by kids. You know, we want it to, you know, we have cartoons all over the walls, and letting them display their art and come in and run their own programming is really important.
This is awesome. And this was wonderful. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Matthew, before we sign off?
No, just visit lancasterpubliclibrary.org. Give us a call, send us an email. Even if it's not book related, we're always here to help with whatever you got.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for tuning in today as we explored the books in the Lancaster Public Library. Join us next week, same place, same time, as we zoom all around to another cool spot in our country where children can read books. I'm your host, Maria Dismondy from Cardinal Rule Press. Matthew, thank you so much from Lancaster
Thanks for having
Library.
us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.